Man, I was
My show.
Come on, the audio. Guys, it was my show. It was all me.
Hey, what are you guys talking about? We did it as a team.
You're right.
You're right. We did it as a team.
Now let's watch the state police and PennDOT work together as a team to stop drunk driving.
Education Today starts now.
Welcome to Education Today. I'm Leslie Campbell from Fort City High School in the Armstrong School District. You know, as we get into May, it's going to be prom season, and looking ahead to June, graduation is coming up. It should be a wonderful time of celebrations and milestones. But tonight, we're going to talk about how all this can be ruined forever through underage drinking, and worse, drinking and driving. It's a message that we need to take seriously year-round. To talk more about this, we are delighted to have three special guests, Sean Hauk, Trooper Mike Zampogna, and Trooper Rich Quinn. Welcome to Education Today.
Thank you.
Would you please tell us about yourselves and your work in this regard?
I'm the safety press officer for PennDOT, and what I do in my job is go out and work with the state police and local police and work on education and enforcement techniques that we can use to help reduce fatalities on the highway.
I'm a new trooper at the Containing Barracks in Troop D.
I'm also stationed at Containing Barracks, and we're basically your guys out there on the road looking for the drunk drivers and investigating the incidents that occur.
How many people lost their lives in motor vehicle crashes in Pennsylvania in 2005?
Well, unfortunately, it was 1,616 people lost their lives. And when you look at that, that is still the #1 cause for that age group of 16 to 32 years of age. So it's still our #1 killer out there in basically the young people status. So it's rather alarming when you think about that, how tragic a vehicle crash can be, and how quickly your life can be taken away from you just as a result of a motor vehicle crash. And unfortunately, a lot of these crashes involve alcohol.
How many crashes involved alcohol or drugs?
It was in 2005, there was 579 motor vehicle crashes that involved alcohol. And when you look at that, of all the total fatalities we have in Pennsylvania, that represents about 35–36% of all the motor vehicle crashes out there. So again, rather alarming that these are 100% preventable type of crashes, in that people just making the right decisions about drinking and driving. These all could have been prevented.
What is the breakdown for PennDOT District 10's 5 counties?
We make up 5 counties. We're a little bit different than what the state police make up, but we do share similar boundaries and so on. But in Armstrong County, they had 9 fatal crashes in 2005. 4 of those were DUI, and it means that the person was under the influence of drugs and or alcohol. In Butler County, there was 21 total fatalities, and 8 of them involved drugs or alcohol. Clarion County, there was 14, and 5 were DUI. In Jefferson County, there were 8, and 3 were DUI. In Indiana County, there was 21 fatal crashes, and 11 of them, were involved drugs or alcohol. So when you look at that, very tragic numbers in that, again, I guess getting the point across that just people making the responsible decision about drinking and driving or using drugs and getting behind the vehicle of a car could save these fellows a lot of extra hours out on the highway as far as going out investigating these crashes, which are very, very difficult, I'm sure, to investigate.
Okay. Well, of all the DUI-related crashes you've had to investigate, do any haunt you in terms of how tragic they were? I mean, they're all tragic, but for each of you as individuals, are there any that would really help our viewers to see the consequences?
Yeah, I could key in on that one. I've had one DUI crash at 2 fatalities come out of the vehicle. This was in approximately 2002 in Schuylkill County on the other side of the state, and why it haunts me the most is both individuals that were killed were 17 years of age. It happened approximately a week before graduation, and both kids were going on to college, you know, had a long and probably a good future in front of them. They were out one evening, they snuck out of their house, drinking and doing drugs, and they were traveling at a high rate of speed, over 100 miles an hour, about 5 in the morning, trying to get home before their folks woke up, and they hit a back end of a tractor trailer at, like I said, 100 miles an hour. And the reason it haunts me the most is their age, 17 years of age, and this could have been avoided easily. First of all, not even being out that late in the evening and under the influence at the age of 17.
Anything else? You want to share a story?
I don't have anything.
Okay. What are PennDOT and the state police doing to reduce DUI fatalities?
We have approximately 50 grants out there involving 450 police departments, municipal police departments, and the state police on board with us out there. We're allocating a lot of funds directly targeting DUI enforcement, and we have a lot of different programs out there we use to really make sure that the money we're spending or investing in our state highways is used effectively in order to target DUI or high DUI corridors out there. So again, we're doing that. We're educating in high schools. We're working with state police, local police, getting them all on the same page of where these crashes are happening at, and really making a difference out there. We think we've driven down where we were 5 years ago, where we are today, but we still have a long ways to go. When again, you're noticing at least 35 to 40% in some areas, up to 50% in some areas of the total crashes involve alcohol or drugs.
What are the DUI efforts that are going on locally?
Well, state police, I'll let them talk on that, but they have a mandate from their commissioner that they're doing DUI checkpoints, and I'll let you talk more on that.
Yeah, we do. I know one with PennDOT is mentioned the board for you driving down the road. It tells you a number to call if you to report a DUI. That was a local thing, I believe, that we did a few months back. And also, every so often, we have allotted time where additional troopers are out that evening for a DUI checkpoint. Could be a roving checkpoint where extra troopers on the road are just out looking for traffic violations and making contact with drivers at certain points. It gives us a better opportunity to go out and, I guess, detect more DUI drivers instead of focusing on criminal investigations. We just allot the whole shift to going out and looking for DUIs.
One thing we're also doing with state police and actually the PLCE too, that's the Pennsylvania Liquor Enforcement guys that are out there. They do a wonderful job of going into taverns and so on and really finding out if there's underage drinking going on. They call them cops and shops and things like that. They have underage buyers that go in and try to buy or purchase alcohol from vendors and so on. Those are very multi-agency things that are going on. And also, if we find an area that is more prone to alcohol-related crashes, we can send the PLCE in, and they can do some undercover investigations on it, whether it's underage drinking going on or who's actually purchasing the alcohol, making a difference there. And also having a state police or local police target that corridor with high visibility enforcement or undercover enforcement too, whatever it takes in order to drive these numbers down. One thing about alcohol, in some cases it's trendy and you may have one corridor that highlights where we're having a lot of alcohol-related crashes. On the other hand, it's somewhat sporadic too, that for these guys to be everywhere at one time is difficult to do. The key message we want to get out there is prevention and people making the right decisions before they decide they are going to go to a party or something to that nature is just personal responsibility about the consumption of alcohol in Pennsylvania.
Okay, well, with the local efforts, how does underage drinking play into it? Is it, why is it important to end underage drinking? And how do you think it could be done better? Or?
It's obviously important to end it because it could lead to other things in the long run. You start at an early age, and 5 years down the road, if you continue the same habits. Also, is an underage getting behind the wheel after being at one of these underage parties, which could lead to, you know, drastic matters at the end. So it's very important to end it. You got to end this, you know. Loss of words here.
When you combine the driving behaviors of a young person, the inexperience behind the wheel, not much time there, 17 years old as the trooper described the one crash that he investigated, with the lack of experience, and then the consumption of alcohol, and then maybe the want to, all kids seem to be somewhat intrigued by speed, going faster. That's why, you know, you go to Kennywood or one of the amusement parks and the longest line is a roller coaster. Everybody likes to do that. But when you can combine speed, drugs or alcohol on our highway system out there, it's going to end up with exactly what the trooper said here, tragedy. And they've seen it time and time again that when you combine those two things, or just even one, speed, it's probably going to end your life early for you. And statistical data shows time and time again that vehicle crashes are the number one killer of teens. And parents and guardians and everybody need to be aware of that you need to safeguard your teen, make sure if they are drinking they stay put, and try by all means get help if they are consuming alcohol at an early age and intervene so they don't end up basically victims of one of these troopers out here and have to investigate and go through that tragic scene. It's about saving lives. It really is about saving lives, young people's lives.
And then the experience of the driving also, as 17, 16, even younger, drinking, the inexperience of handling your alcohol and the maturity of, you know, handling a certain level of drinking, and you combine both of them together and your results, you know, will be drastic.
Well, in this high-tech age, are there any special programs that help guide you in your efforts to reduce highway fatalities?
We have narrowed it down, and I'll elaborate a litlittle bit on what PennDOT's using. We have a program referred to as CDART, and CDART basically gives us, and I can show you an illustration of it, but we can really define it down to when the crashes are happening between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. I can read on this, and there was 9 alcohol-related crashes. That represents 55.6%, and I can tell you exactly what corridor they happened on, you know, what roadway they happened on. And this helps us tremendously when we work with state police or local police to say, if you have a trooper available, we'd like you to have you out on this particular road at this time because this is when we think the crashes are happening. That has proven to be very effective tool in reducing some alcohol-related crashes, in that when we start getting a crash cluster referred to as a lot of crashing happening in one area, it could be a tavern serving a lot of underage drinkers, and that's where we're seeing the crashes at. And then also the state police have a program which they refer to as Prophecy, and it's problem-specific policing. It's the same system they used up in New York City to reduce the crime up there, as far as putting the troopers where they need to be. And I'll let the troopers elaborate a little bit on that.
An quick way to break it down is every incident we go to could range from burglary, theft, and here we're focusing on DUI crashes or DUIs. Every incident we go to, in our cars we have a computer system, and it gives us the latitude and longitude of our exact location. So when we're at that location, we have to tell our desk personnel where we're at, and what that does is that's sent into a computer, and over time it tracks where all the incidents, and they break it down almost as a grid onto a road, and the same as PennDOT does, what time it occurred, the day of the week, down to, like I said, the day of the week and the time. And what our efforts do is our bosses will come to us and say, well, this is where our problems areas are. So when we're starting our shift, say on a Friday night, for example, and our sergeant or lieutenant will come up to us and say, our problem is on State Route 85 at this location at this time. He wants a car in that area, and hopefully that could reduce the problem that we have.
Well, we're going to take a short break. When we get back, we'll talk more with Sean Hauk, Trooper Mike Zampogna, and Trooper Rich Quinn. This is Armstrong School District's Education Today.
Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Get out ahead of the pack. Master technology. Learn real-life lessons from mentors who've competed in the global economy. Immerse yourself in a business and multicultural atmosphere with the highest possible accreditation. Study business at IUP. Quality, affordability, excellence. Indiana University of Pennsylvania. The perfect fit.
Welcome back to Armstrong School District's Education Today. I'm Leslie Campbell from Fort City High School in the Armstrong School District. Today we're talking with 3 outstanding guests about the perils of underage drinking and drunken driving. What frustrates you the most about DUI crashes?
Me personally, it's that they can be prevented so easily just by not drinking and driving.
Is there any one group of people who stand out in these type of crashes?
Yeah, in some cases there are. I think they vary a lot, but in some cases we're dealing with repeat offenders. It's somebody that's been through the system one time already and still haven't learned their lesson.
Right.
And get out there and they may got off easy the first time possibly, but they're out there doing it again. And I think that would frustrate me the most in that, you know, these people sooner or later they're going to be involved in a serious crash and they're killing themselves or somebody else. And that's the scary part, that I have family out there and everybody else has family out there too. And we all make mistakes, and a lot of times there's a little bit of leniency maybe on that first apprehension for DUI, and you'd hope that somebody would learn their lesson about drinking and driving as a result of being put under arrest and going through the system. And but still, a lot of these folks deal with repeat offenders out there.
I know, me personally, I haven't had one with repeat offender 5, 6, 7, but I know guys over and over, 7-time offender, and he's still out there driving. Me, I've dealt with maybe a 2nd-time offender, 3rd-time offender, but I've only been around for a short time. So, but down the road, I'm sure I will 6, 7 times meet the person that's actually out there on a 7th DUI.
Is there any times of day of the week, or holidays that are worse?
It tends to be, in my opinion, I'm not 100% sure of it, but Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights, even Sunday nights now. Holidays that everyone's home or celebrating something. Holiday Eves like Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, St. Patrick's Day is another big one, you know, where they promote going out and celebrating.
And one of the big ones that has come to light here lately is Halloween. It has proven to be one of the deadliest alcohol-related times of the year right now, because I guess when you look at where we're at New Year's Eve now, it's not uncommon for us to go through a New Year's Eve with no alcohol-related crashes. And that's a good sign that people really have gotten the message. There are increased enforcement out there, and these guys are out doing their job, guys and gals, really making the highway safety force. But now with Halloween, it's becoming more of a holiday for them to get in costumes, go out, and drink. Now they have a costume over their head or whatever they're trying to drive, or the big hair, whatever the case may be. Now they're consuming alcohol. So now you're seeing a lot more focus being put on by the state police and local police to enforce more during those types of holidays.
What can happen to a person if they are arrested for DUI?
It really depends on whether it's first-time offense, 2nd time, or multiple offenses. And if they're arrested and found guilty, they can potentially lose their license, receive a fine, and possibly jail time for that. And then it depends on what offense it is, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or multiple offenses.
Now, occasionally we read in the papers about repeat DUI drivers who wreck and sometimes kill others. In your opinion, what will stop the repeat drunken drivers? Is it a case of the sentences for punishing drunk drivers not being stiff enough?
In some cases, it is very difficult to get some of these people off, because it goes beyond just drinking and driving. It's almost an addiction to alcohol, where they actually have to have intervention as far as the disease that it is. The only true thing that will stop that is basically taking the car and the automobile away from them. But it seems like somehow, some way, they always find access to a set of keys and they drive. It's a societal change in that we have to all understand that when we get in an automobile, it is a projectile. It is flying down the road at 60 or 70 miles an hour, or 50, or whatever the case may be. And it is a lethal object that can kill somebody. And the more we become aware that it is wrong, it is unlawful, and it's just not the right thing to do to get behind the wheel when you've been consuming drugs and or alcohol, I think the more we get that in. Years ago, it seemed to be an acceptable practice. Not acceptable, but it seemed to be more tolerable in that people would consume alcohol and think it was okay to drive down the road. In this day and age, it's not being tolerated. You've seen the alcohol, the legal limit come from 0.10 down to 0.08. That sent a important message out to everybody in that not only is it dangerous, or was it dangerous to drive at 0.10, it's still dangerous to drive at 0.08. And a lot of philosophers are saying now, or philosophies tell you, or it's proven, it's not a philosophy, it's proven, that impairment starts with the first drink. That as soon as you consume one, and everybody's individually different, depending on your metabolism, your body, and everything else.
Right.
Whether it be me consuming one, or you consuming one, or anybody else consuming one out there, it's going to affect us a little bit differently. And whether it be drugged in or alcohol, each of them perform differently. So it's really, people have to educate themselves in that I'm going to be responsible when I'm driving a car.
I think it's also the matter, the person that drinks 10 drinks, and in his opinion, he thinks he's okay, he or she thinks he's okay to go out and drive. His blood alcohol limit is still going to be up over the legal limit. And you know, if you come in contact and they say, well, I'm not drunk, or I'm all right to drive, well, that's why we have certain tests that, you know, determine the standardized field sobriety test, which we are trained in and help us determine if you're capable of safe driving. And what you think is safe driving and what we're trained to know what safe driving is two different things.
Now, can anyone report a DUI driver?
Yes, anybody can report a DUI driver. All they have to do is pick up the phone, dial 911, tell us a brief description of the vehicle if they can get that and where it's at. Now, we don't want anybody following the vehicle and trying to do something about it on their own, but if they can get a description and tell us what they're doing, if they're driving erratically or anything that they're doing that can help us to pick out a vehicle on the road that they were following.
In each of your personal opinions, what will it take for America to stop drinking and driving?
To stop it, I'm not really sure if I could say you could stop it, but to eliminate more programs as to MAD, like Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, more programs as that to get involved and, you know, push for harsher penalties or, you know, stricter fines or what have you. You know, find funding where we can get out and do more programs for more DUI patrols, more efforts, you know, different efforts to help people that are addicted and have problems. You know, get them, you know, I guess the more opportunities to help someone is what, you know, what we're looking for.
There's even the automobile industry now is looking towards technology, and we all talked about technology, how we use it to our benefits. In that, I foresee in the near future that you're not going to be able to start an automobile without submitting some type of breath test. It may get to that point someday that you and I, when we get in our car, we have to blow into some type of system. It detects that we're alcohol and drug-free, possibly. I don't know how far it will go. They're using it now on some sentencing on repeat offenders, and has been somewhat successful with that group there, the ones that comply with that. Some of them don't comply at all and just take the jail sentence and the loss of license, but other ones are responsible, may have been their first offense, go with the interlock system in their car. But someday I think you'll see that it'll come to the point where this will escalate up to where all automobiles will have some type of device in that, and even it could be trains and airplanes and everything else that before that they can take off, whatever the case may be, they'll have to submit some type of test.
It could start with you yourself. If you see a friend is intoxicated and wants to get behind the wheel, take his keys. He might get mad at you and dislike you at that moment, but you know, in the long run, you might be saving his life, someone's life, and also, I mean, his future. A DUI could haunt you for a long time, and you know, the younger you are, the longer you have, and the DUI, I've seen it personally. It can haunt you and follow you the whole way down.
That's an excellent point, that personal responsibility and taking ownership of your friends too, and just again, grabbing those keys, letting somebody know about what the problem is. I even had high school kids come to me and say, you know, was it wrong to drive after curfew when I was the only one sober there and all my friends were drinking? And it's like, what do you tell them? You know, actually they were taking responsibility because they were the sober one, they were worried about driving beyond curfew. But that's such a minimal thing in comparison to what could have happened if they'd have gotten in the car with somebody that was drinking and driving. It's so tragic to see young people lose their lives when just because they make one mistake. I don't know any parent out there that would not come and pick up their son or daughter if they were at a party and they got involved in alcohol and or drugs and said, you know, I'm not sober to drive home. They'd be out there picking you up. They would not want you driving. And what could be the penalty for that?
Right.
Minimal compared to your life.
Right, save your life, and if you're grounded, you know, you still have your life and the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Okay, well, is there anything else to add for the benefit of our viewers? You want to add anything?
Just, I mean, for young people, if you're out there and you get involved in a party, just stop and think for a minute. Just stop and think for a minute the consequences out there, what these gentlemen deal with out on the highway every day. These tragedies or these crashes are so horrific. When you see a young person, whether they're still alive when you folks get there or whatever, lose their life as a result of something that's 100% preventable, 100% preventable, just by making that one decision to say, I'm going to pick up the phone and call for help. I'm going to pick up, or I'm going to designate a driver that night. These types of decisions are life decisions, affect your entire life. And I mean, I have a son growing up now, and I hope I can get the message across to him. And parents have to set the right example too. I mean, parents have to make sure that they're setting the ground rules and not being the ones that are going out and drinking and driving themselves, because a lot of times we follow in our parents' footsteps of how they react or how they drive. We drive the same way. So it's so important that we, you know, set the groundwork and the rules and be responsible driving on Pennsylvania highways.
Okay. Well, that's our show for today. I'd like to thank our guests, Sean Hauk, Trooper Mike Zampogna, and Trooper Rich Quinn. I'd also like to thank the TV production students of Mrs. Barb Keller at Fort City High School. They were our film crew for today. Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. Visit our website for updated information about the district, and have a great week.
Thank you.
Watch out, there's a wall there.
Watch out, Neo.
Maryland.
Neapolitan. And then we just call our Neo.
On here? Just everything. What's your job? Dude, I love this camera. Smile for me, Daddy. What you looking at? Zooming in on you. Yeah. Yes. Kinda got annoying. Kayla, give me a face of how you look when you mess up. Like anywhere else.
So you said get. I almost said ain't because I had it written when I was doing my thing.
Superior.
Kayla likes a man in uniform.
With a gun.
Look what he's packing.
I'm trying to get a shot of Hill.
Give me a pretty smile.